right, this is Building Independence, Daily Living Skills from Preschool to Preteen. It's a family and caregiver guide to the functions of behavior. I will be presenting. My name is Marion West, BCBA at the Learning Tree ABA. Today we're doing a 45-minute practical session. We're going to focus on some simple strategies that you can start using tomorrow. We'll be showing examples throughout, and we will have a Q&A at the end. Here is a quick poll to start. Where are you in your journey? This is an interactive poll, so feel free to click in. Are we just starting to teach daily living skills? Working on some skills, maybe struggling with others? Looking for next steps as your child gets older? Or are you here to learn for your professional role? For today's focus, we'll be covering 3 core areas. The first is task analysis, breaking skills into tiny teachable steps. We have key independence skills, practical strategies for common daily tasks, and finally, age-appropriate growth, what to work on when. Today, we will not be covering deep theoretical concepts. Today, we're focusing on practical actions. What is task analysis and why it matters? For a simple definition, we are going to be breaking a skill into small, manageable steps. Why this works? It makes overwhelming tasks achievable. It shows you exactly where to start, and it allows you to celebrate small wins along the way. Our real talk example is brushing your teeth. This is one overarching large task, and when you're teaching it to your child, it means teaching over 15 steps for a child to learn. Breaking it down into each step is going to help us achieve this goal. Here's a visual example of task analysis in action, and we have the steps for washing your hands. Step 1, turn on water. Step 2, wet hands. Step 3, pump soap. Step 4, rub your hands together. Step 5, rinse hands. Step 6, turn off the water. And step 7, dry your hands. This one large task is we're able to break it up into these small tasks and see how to target each one. Prompting and prompt fading. We want to start with the least amount of help that your child needs to be successful. Prompting means giving more support so that your child can complete each step. Over time, we want to slowly fade the support so that they are doing more on their own each time. Some common types of prompts. We have the verbal prompt, which is just giving a verbal direction, pick up your toothbrush. A gestural prompt, pointing to the toothbrush. A visual prompt could be using a picture checklist or schedule. A model prompt is showing your child what to do. You pick up the toothbrush. A physical prompt would be helping guide their hands to pick up the toothbrush. The key reminder that we want for prompting and prompt fading is that we want to move from more support to less support over time. And our goal here is not perfect performance right away. It is gradually stepping back and letting them gain that independence on their own. For example, for week 1, we could do a hand-over-hand physical prompt to help put the toothpaste on the toothbrush. On week 2, we can point to the toothpaste and wait, giving the child the opportunity to do this action on their own, and we step in when they need help. And then on week 3, the child can get the toothpaste independently. And in this case, you can give them that opportunity of independence, wait a couple seconds, and if they need help, that's when you step in to help. This prompt fading is going to help them achieve independence. All right, how to create your own task analysis. This is a simple 3-step process. The first thing you want to do is you do it yourself. You perform the task and write down every single step. And think about it. How do I brush my teeth? I go to the bathroom, I find my toothbrush, I wet my brush, I get the toothpaste, I take the cap off the toothpaste. You want to write down every single step. The next step will be to observe your child engaging in this task. Is there a certain area that they get stuck, that they need help on? We want to note that and see what prompt level we would want to deliver. Maybe they grab their toothbrush, no problem. In that case, they do not need prompting. Maybe they need help finding the toothpaste, taking the lid off the toothpaste. That's a place where the adult can come in and help them. And the next step is to write it out. Create a simple checklist with both words and pictures. Here is a sample task analysis for getting dressed. Step 1, open the shirt drawer. Step 2, grab one shirt from the drawer. Step 3, find the tag. Step 4, put head through the big hole. Step 5, put right arm through the right hole. Step 6, put left arm through the left hole. And step 7 is pulling the shirt down over the tummy. At the end of the CEU, we will have a downloadable version of a few of these task analysis. We always recommend laminating them and then having them out where the child can see them. Some common mistakes we want to avoid with task analysis. We want to make sure that these are simple, visual, and supportive. We don't want to make the steps too big. For example, we don't want to just say, put on the shirt. There are more steps than that. We don't want it to be words only. We want to make sure that there are pictures so that the child can glance over at the checklist and understand easily what is expected. We do not want to expect independence too fast. We cannot teach one of these larger skills and just expect that a child's going to get it instantly, especially with the task analysis. We're breaking it down so that you can see that there are a lot of difference that the kid is going to have to practice. Another thing we do not want to do is we do not want to change the order. Once we write this down, we want to stick to the steps exactly. We're putting our right arm in first and then the left arm. This is going to chain the routine and keep it from being confusing and setting our expectations appropriately. What we do, we want to break into tiny steps. We want to add pictures or photos. We want to use prompting and support. Adults should be there to help them with this process. And like I said, we want to stay consistent. The skills we'll explore today, we have a few focus areas for our daily living skills. Our first is toileting, mealtime, household contributions, dressing, and hygiene routines. And for each of these areas, we will show where to start and one practical strategy that you can apply this week. All right, first up, we're going to discuss toileting independence and maybe some starting points. So first, we want to look up for some no pressure readiness signs. These are things that will start showing that your child is ready for toilet training. We want to look for children that are staying dry for approximately 2 hours. Maybe they're showing some interest in the bathroom and in underwear. They can follow simple instructions, and they start showing signs of discomfort when wet and soiled. And as always, your child's timeline is the right timeline. We want to make sure that we are able to stay dry, able to follow these simple directions, and not pressuring them before they're ready. All right, we have a visual example of a bathroom routine sequence. Step 1, pull down pants. Step 2, pull down underwear. Step 3, sit on potty. Step 4, wipe. Step 5, pull up underwear. Step 6, pull up pants. Step 7, flush. And step 8, we're going to walk to the sink and wash our hands. One strategy to try is this bathroom visual schedule. So a printed, laminated copy of our bathroom routine, put it at the child's level so they can see. It has pictures and simple words that they can understand. We recommend laminating this for durability. And we can also use Velcro dots to check off the steps. We can put this on the bathroom at the child's level. And in our resource box, we'll have a link to a free downloadable template. As the child is going through the bathroom routine, the adult can point to and check off steps, reading the words and keeping this routine consistent. Now we have some quick troubleshooting. If you see any resistance to sitting, we can start with a shorter duration to build up our tolerance. We can even start with 1 second, just sit down, stand up. The next time, increase it to 3 seconds. The next time, increase it to 5 seconds. This will build up the tolerance, so they're not immediately sitting down on the toilet for maybe a targeted 5 minutes. We want to keep our expectations lower and increase gradually. We can make sitting fun. You can save the child's favorite book, favorite songs. Every time we sit on the toilet, we get to listen to our favorite song. We can have a timer that has the countdown, so the child sees the duration that they're expected to sit on the toilet. Accidents happen. This is absolutely to be expected when we're toilet training. We like to keep a neutral response. There's no punishment. The child's not doing this on purpose. We're practicing a difficult skill. And when accidents happen, we just want to practice the routine. We'll go to the bathroom, we'll get changed. We're still going to practice pulling down our pants, sitting on the toilet, and washing our hands afterwards. And we will try again. For any nighttime concerns, this is a different skill. It's going to be a different timeline, and we do want to practice daytime toilet training first. Dressing independence. What are some starting points? We want to look at age-appropriate timelines. At ages 2 to 3, they can practice pulling up and down pants and taking off their shirts. Age 3 to 4, practice putting on the shirt. Age 4 to 5, using buttons and zippers. And then the next slide, we're going to talk about backwards chaining. All right, here's a visual example of how we use backwards chaining. For dressing, in the first step, we could practice this for the first week. The child does 80% of the process. The adult is going to help the child pick out the shirt, put it on the right way, put their head through, put both arms through, and then they allow the child to pull the shirt down. And we're going to reinforce and be excited and happy for the child that they are able to complete this step. In the second week, we are going to allow the child to do one more step. So the adult will be picking out the shirt, putting it on their head correctly, putting one arm through, and now we're going to allow the child another step towards independence, having them put their arm through and then pull the shirt down. In this example as well, we're going to be using our prompting and prompt fading. Maybe at the beginning of week 2, the child needs more help orienting their arm into the hole of the shirt. Hopefully by the end of the week, you're able to fade back that prompt and the child's able to put one arm through and pull down independently. In the next week, we are going to take one more step back in the swap backward chain. The adult does maybe 40% of the task, helping them pick out the shirt, putting their head through. And now we're going to allow the child to put both arms through. They may need a little help at first. They may need more help with the first arm, and they're more independent with the second arm, and they're able to pull down their shirt again. At this point, the child is doing 60% of the task on their own. We are going to be encouraging them, excited for them, and making note of the steps that they're taking towards independence. Like, you are doing such an amazing job. I saw how you put both arms through your shirt and pulled it down. Week 4, we're going to take another step back. Maybe the adult can help orient the shirt so the child sees where the head hole is. And they are going to pull their head through the shirt, both arms, and pull down. So at this point, the child is doing 80% of the work, and the adult is just supporting them as they need help. One strategy to try, backward training for shirts. In week 1, you do steps 1 through 4. You're going to be holding the shirt right side out with a tag visible. Child's head goes through the neck hole. First arm goes through the sleeve. Second arm goes through the other sleeve. And then you allow the child to independently pull their shirt down. In week 2, you're doing steps 1 through 3. The child does 4 through 5. And we continue building this step backwards. So why the steps works is that your child is experiencing success every time. So even if you are helping them 1 through 4, you step back, they're pulling their shirt down by themselves. They are finishing the action of getting dressed and they're feeling that success. Each time you take a step back, they are still feeling the success, and we want to label it and, be excited for them that they're gaining this independent skill. Right, some practical dressing tips. We want to make sure that we're starting with easy clothes. We have t-shirts, shorts, or sweatpants with elastic bands. We can lay the clothes out in order so the child is able to see their clothes, stick to a specific routine. We can use visual markers. When we're putting our shoes on, the left shoe can be labeled in one color, the right in another. T-shirts have a visual marker of having maybe a graphic on the front, and the tag shows that it should go at the nape of the neck. And we also want to practice when we're feeling calm. This is going to take less pressure and less stress for the child. If you are really feeling in a rush, uh, we're running late for school, that may not be the best time to practice their independence. Next up is mealtime skills, and here are some starting points. There is the utensil development timeline. So first, younger children are going to be practicing their fine motor skills with their fingers. And then at approximately 18 to 24 months, we can start practicing with a spoon. 2 to 3 years old, using a fork. And then 4, 5, and older, using a child-friendly knife. During this time, we're also developing drinking from an open cup, sitting at a table, cleaning up after ourselves, and simple food preparation. Here is a visual example for fork skill progression. So for level 1, we have some hand-over-hand physical guidance. The adult is going to put their hand over the child's, helping them grasp the fork. Can bring the child's fork to the plate. Practice the stabbing motion, making sure that you have a piece of food on the fork, bringing the fork back to the child's mouth and allowing them to take that bite off of the fork. On level 2, we're going to use more of a light touch. We call this the partial physical support. As you can see, the adult's hand is drawn back a little bit more. Hopefully now the child is grasping the fork a little more comfortably, and the adult can help the child bring it to the plate, help them stab the food, and very lightly guiding them. In level 3, we have pointing, which we call a gestural prompt. We are pointing towards the plate to suggest to the child that they can take the fork themselves and bring that to the plate. If they need any help with a certain food, maybe they're having some difficulty, the adult can come in, help them, and then back off on that prompt. The child can bring the fork to their mouth. If they need any help, we can use that pointing prompt. And the next level is independence, and this is when we have minimal support, but we are also still there supervising as needed. You can see in this picture, the child has the fork by themselves. They're using it to stab the food. The adult is still there in case they need any help. Maybe a piece of food is really slippery. They're having challenges, then we can step in and help as needed. One strategy to try is fork-friendly foods. Some of the best foods for learning to use your fork are going to be cooked pasta, particularly spirals and penne, banana chunks, cooked carrot coins, some strawberry pieces, cheese cubes, and steamed broccoli florets. Some harder foods that we can save for later are rice, peas, slippery fruits, maybe foods that are dry and crumbly. When we're practicing these independent fork skills, we want to set the child up for success. We can save those harder foods for once we're seeing a little bit more independence. All right, some realistic mealtime expectations. We want to make sure that our expectations are age appropriate. From ages 2 to 3, we are definitely expecting our meal times to be messy. We are experimenting with utensils, with tastes, with sensory experiences. There's going to be a little bit of a mess, and that is absolutely okay. From ages 4 to 5, we're going to start learning how to use our fork and spoon appropriately. We're learning to cut soft foods, and our mealtime is going to look a little cleaner. Ages 6 to 8, we're going to be practicing independently using these utensils. We're going to be practicing pouring drinks. Ages 9 to 12, we would expect our child to be able to prepare simple snacks, some food, and have established some proper table manners. And always remember, we are looking for progress over perfection. On each step, we're hoping that our table is a little bit less messy. Some of these age ranges, may absolutely change depending on the individual experience of the child. All right, and then for hygiene independence, we have some starting points. These are examples of some core routines that we want to establish. We want to practice hand washing, toothbrushing, bathing and showering, hair care, and then when it is age appropriate, deodorant use. Hygiene is a great skill for modeling behaviors. Caregivers should model good hygiene practices, engaging in the behavior with the child, explaining each step, reviewing the task analysis, and using social reinforcement. So for this example, we have washing hands after toileting routine. The adult and child can rub hands together for 20 seconds while singing Row, Row, Row Your Boat. In this example, the child is seeing how an adult would wash their hands. They're seeing after the bathroom, everyone washes their hands. This isn't just a punishment that adults are putting on a child. This is general good hygiene practices, setting a time that we need to wash our hands for a certain amount of time. It's not just a very quick put soap on and rinse off. And then singing together creates a social bond. You get to sing and have a good time with your caregiver. All right, and here is a visual example of a toothbrushing routine. And this is an example of an independent station. We have a visual checklist mounted on the mirror. This is going to be at the child's level so they can reference it themselves. We have a timer visible on the counter. So for toothbrushing, we have a 2-minute countdown. We have a step stool for sink access, organized supplies that are within the child's reach, and then a finished picture showing what success looks like. Here is an example of our toothbrushing checklist. In this example, we have 9 steps that we can go through, pointing to them as the child does the routine. In this example, we have our check marks. So first we're going to wet our toothbrush. We are going to put toothpaste on the brush. We're going to start a 2-minute timer, brushing the top teeth. Step 5, brushing the bottom teeth. Step 6, brushing the tongue. Have them spit, rinse their mouth, rinse their toothbrush, and then they're all done. So as we go through this, we can check every step, be excited, and celebrate the successes. And again, modeling is so important. Children learn by watching. It's always recommended to do these routines with your child, not for them. So we can brush our teeth together. We can show and describe each step. This is an example of showing them what success means. You know, what does it mean to brush your top teeth and then your bottom teeth? And we want to show and describe each step. We want to stay consistent. And here is an example that we can brush our teeth together, brushing side by side for 2 minutes until our timer goes off. And again, modeling is so important. Children learn by watching. We want to do the routine with your child, not for them. We can do it together. We can show and describe each step, and we can stay consistent. For example, when brushing teeth, the adult can brush their teeth with their child side by side for the 2 minutes, showing and describing each step, giving an example of what success looks like, how we are brushing the top teeth, bottom teeth, spitting, rinsing, putting our toothbrush away. This creates, again, another social bond, social reinforcement, showing the child that this is something we all do and we're doing it so that we can take care of ourselves. And with modeling brings routines that stick. These are some other strategies to help make those hygiene routines stick. If you find that your child is really rushing through the 2 minutes, we can use that timer, especially a visual timer that they can see. We're going to brush until the timer beeps. If we are forgetting steps, we can use our laminated checklist in the bathroom. And this also involves adult supervision coming through and checking each step as they go through. If your child is resisting routine, we can start building in choices. having multiple options for toothpaste. If you want to do it before or after we put on our pajamas. If you find that your child is needing reminders, we can have a visual schedule. For example, what does our bedtime routine look like? Having that checklist of each of the things that we are doing before bed and having natural consequences. If we don't brush our teeth, then we may not get extra time reading in bed with the parents. Our next topic is household contributions, why household tasks matter. They build competence and confidence. They teach responsibility. We're teaching real-world skills for the future. This is going to create a sense of family contribution and a I can do hard things mindset. Some age-appropriate household tasks. So starting around 3 to 5, we can start assigning and asking our child to put toys into their bins, put dirty clothes in their hampers, wipe low tables, and feed pets, with additional support, maybe making sure they have the measuring cup, the bowl, and easy access. From ages 6 to 8, the child can start learning to make their bed, setting the table for family meals, watering plants, putting away their clean clothes, and emptying small trash cans. From ages 9 to 12, the children can help load and unload the dishwasher, sweep, vacuum, simple meal prep, fold laundry, and take out the trash. For all these household contributions, we can also use our task analysis and our checklists. This is an example for bed making. In this visual example, we have what the bed looks like before and what it looks like after. So for our checklist, we can have pull up the fitted sheet, straighten the flat sheet, place the pillow, pull up our blanket, smooth our blanket, put stuffed animals on the bed, and then compare to the picture. So this way the child can go and they can check their work, and then this is an example of what success would look like. Our goal for bed making is a child-made bed. We want it to be neater, but we do not expect perfection. One strategy to try is the visual chore chart. In this example, we have Monday through Sunday, a clear visual label of what chores Jaden is expected to do. He's expected to make the bed, put away the toys, and feed the dog. Every day we can go through and give him a check when he completes his task. When all the tasks is done, he is able to have a preferred activity. This can be maybe at the beginning, a preferred activity every day at the end. And as he is successful and independent with these chores, maybe at the end of the week, we get a larger reward. And the independence journey, what to remember. Independence is built, not born. Every child's timeline is unique. Small steps lead to big gains. Regression during stress is normal. Any stressful time, any change in schedule, physical illness. These are times when we might expect the child to need a little bit more help, more support. And we want to be consistent across people and places that matter. All right, and here's another quick poll. What do you think you will start with? This is an interactive poll. Please click in. We have our toileting routine, dressing skills, mealtime independence, hygiene routines, or household tasks. All right, and for you, your 3 steps to try this week are step 1, pick one skill to focus on. Step 2, create a simple task analysis where we want to write down the steps. And step 3, add one visual support. What do you think will help your child? Will it be a checklist, a visual schedule, or pictures for support? And that's it. That's where we can start. When to get professional support. Some signs that it's time to reach out. You have been putting in consistent effort for 4 to 6 weeks and you are not seeing any progress. Your child seems frustrated beyond typical learning. You're not sure where to start. behaviors interfering with learning, or you want individualized strategies. The Learning Tree ABA can help with detailed task analysis, individualized visual supports, parent training and coaching, troubleshooting specific challenges. Some key takeaways. We want to break it down. Task analysis makes everything teachable. You can use this with any large skill, breaking it down into these small steps that we can target. Show, don't just tell. Visual supports are your friend. Modeling the behaviors will help so much. Using one of those visual checklists, your child can see, and that helps them self-manage. Start where your child is, not where they should be. As you can see, these skills, when you break them down, are very large and they can be really overwhelming. We cannot expect independence without breaking these down and helping support them along the small steps. And we always celebrate the small wins. They absolutely add up. Every step in the right direction is a celebration. And we want to let the child know that we see that they are trying and that they are progressing. And the last one, you do not have to do this alone. You can absolutely reach out for support. Here are some resources and next steps. You can take action. You can contact the Learning Tree ABA. Our phone number, email address, websites, as well as our socials are listed here. At the bottom, you see the Maryland counties that the Learning Tree ABA is able to help with. And please schedule a free consultation. And thank you so much for joining us today. We now have 15 minutes for any questions. If you would like to submit a question, please click the Q&A button at the bottom of your Zoom screen to open up the panel. Type your question and click send, and I will be answering as many questions as we can during this time. For what's next, the recording of this webinar will be sent to you within 24 hours. We absolutely ask for your feedback to help us with any future seminar topics, things that you liked, maybe things that you'd like to see next time. And feel free to reach out to us at any time. As you can see, our phone number and email are below. Thank you so much for being here and for your commitment to understanding and supporting your child.